yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
Coward.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. Like, and so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so he's like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit up? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twisted my ankle and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact.
Kevin Durant just crossed a wild line that nobody saw coming on LeBron's podcast, and the whole thing blew up fast. He slid in some slick shade at Michael Jordan like it was nothing, while LeBron sat there laughing like it was all jokes. They really thought nobody would check them for it. But they seriously misread the room. They were wrong because Jordan didn't need to jump online or fire back with drama. He just let the facts talk for him. And once those facts came out, people started looking at today's NBA stars in a whole different way. Suddenly, the flashy highlights and social media vibes didn't seem as strong as the real legacy talk. Mind the Game was supposed to be that pure hoop conversation, player to player, no filters, straight knowledge from guys who lived it. At least that's how they sold it to everybody. But over time, it started feeling like two famous friends sipping wine and tossing little jabs at the legends who built the entire league. If you watch the episodes closely, you can see the pattern clear as day. There's always a target, always someone they try to downplay, and most of the time that target is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. It's like they can't go one episode without poking at his name like they're trying to shake his throne. Then came that episode where a fan asked about the triangle offense, and that's when things got extra messy.
To have a long career, that's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times. So, you know, if I burn out, I burn out.
Pierce had it poked away, stolen by Jordan. Lojas down on the floor. It's loose to Humphries. 4 to shoot. Humphries 3.
You like the idea. Jordan coming up with the steal.
Oh, look
again.
at that. The 40-year-old dives to the hardwood.
What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost. You know, I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove. It was something that I felt like, you know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
LeBron and KD brushed it off quick, acting like the system was too old, too slow, something that would get exposed in today's game. They said it like it was just another outdated idea collecting dust. After that, they jumped into ring culture and tried flipping the whole conversation. They said people care too much about championships, that rings are overrated, that the talk around them is out of control. LeBron even said he doesn't get why rings are treated like the final answer to everything in basketball. Think about that for a second, because it's wild when you really sit with it. The same guy who's been chasing Jordan's legacy for years is now trying to say rings don't matter like that. But that wasn't even the craziest part. Not by a long shot. Durant suddenly shifted into this deep talk mode about career longevity, acting like he was serving some ancient wisdom to the world. He started painting this big picture about how the grind hits different after 10 or 12 years in the league, like only he truly understands that pressure. Then he dropped the line that had everybody's eyes locked onto the screen. Some people say, I want to go play baseball. Yeah. And then I want to come back. He said it with that little smirk, like he knew exactly what he was stirring up. Then he hit the follow-up. Some people say, I'm gonna go 22 straight, and the timing was too smooth. LeBron instantly started laughing, and the camera caught the whole moment clear as day. You could tell Bron knew exactly what Durant was doing, and he wasn't stopping him either. Right there, it stopped being a friendly conversation and turned into a message. They were basically saying Jordan stepped away while LeBron stayed in the fight for 2 decades straight. They were hinting that staying longer somehow means more than dominating the game at the highest level. But here's the issue with Durant's cute little jab, and it's a big one. It strips away all the reality behind Jordan's first retirement, and that context flips the whole conversation upside down. Jordan didn't just wake up one morning like, "I'm tired, let me go swing a bat." His father was tragically murdered that summer, taken from him during a robbery, and that loss changed his entire world. James Jordan, the man who pushed Michael toward greatness every single day, was gone. And that loss hit deeper than anyone can understand.
All right, Laker Nerd asks, why is the triangle offense less utilized in today's game?
To try to run the triangle offense right now, it'd be very challenging just because how the game is played and also how defense is covering.
10 to shoot. Jake going right to the rack. No defensive communication.
Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
So when Michael Jordan, at the absolute peak of his powers, stepped away from basketball, he wasn't running from pressure. He was honoring his father's memory and chasing the dream they shared about playing pro baseball. That was real emotion, real family, real life. So when Durant casually tosses out that line, some people play baseball with that smirk on his face, it lands different. It's not just clueless. It comes off disrespectful because he's shrinking one of the most painful chapters of Jordan's life into a quick joke. And seeing LeBron sitting right next to him laughing along made the whole thing hit even harder for fans watching it all play out. Let's actually look at when Jordan retired, because that context matters more than the jokes they were making. He didn't retire after getting bounced in the first round. He didn't leave after losing on the big stage. Jordan retired after winning his third championship in a row, something only a tiny handful of legends have ever even come close to pulling off. He reached the highest level possible and stayed there, doing something Magic Johnson never did, Larry Bird never did, and Isaiah Thomas never did. A three-peat, right in the middle of dealing with the heartbreak of losing his father. That's not running away, that's strength most people can't even imagine. Basketball experts, former players, and fans all point to 1991 through 1993 as the single greatest stretch of basketball anyone has ever played. Some even call it the best player at his best, and nobody argues it because the proof is on the court for everyone to see. So calling that quitting isn't just wrong, it's straight up disrespectful to the history of the game. And here's where things get really interesting, because you have to ask yourself one simple question. Who exactly is making these comments?
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest, to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
Maybe that's a goal, but yeah, we'll see.
The next day.
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
You know, the fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket or to get money to buy the ticket.
You really cared about the guy who sat in the top deck at the Palace in Auburn Hills to watch you when you came to Detroit?
Yeah, because I know he's probably yelling at me and I want to shut him up. So if the guys are coming to watch me play, I don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, physically, if I can't do it, then I can't do it. But physically, if I can do it and I just don't feel like doing it, that's a whole different lens.
Kevin Durant, a player with one of the most debated career moves in NBA history, is the one talking like this, and that's what makes the whole situation hit different. Back in 2016, after losing to the Warriors in the playoffs, he chose to join the exact squad that knocked his team out. And people still talk about that decision today because the Warriors were already a powerhouse with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, plus a record-breaking 73 wins. Fans across the league argue that the move felt wild because KD went to a team that was already stacked, and it changed how a lot of people viewed his path. And that wasn't the only moment that stirred conversation. After his time with Golden State, things in Brooklyn got rocky, and he asked for a new start. Then in Phoenix, the situation shifted again, and he moved on once more. These choices got the internet talking nonstop about loyalty, legacy, and expectations. So when people hear KD making comments about Jordan quitting, it hits a nerve for a lot of fans who remember how all those storylines unfolded. And then there's LeBron, whose journey also sparked big debates. When things got tough in Cleveland early in his career, he shifted to Miami to chase a new opportunity. When things changed there, he went back to Cleveland. And when that chapter reached its end, he moved to Los Angeles to build the next part of his career. Each move had reasons. Each move had pressure attached. And each one got fans arguing for years about loyalty, timing, and legacy. So seeing both of them on a podcast taking shots at Jordan stepping away after a three-peat, especially during the most painful time of his life, felt bold to a lot of people watching. And the disrespect didn't stop with that one baseball line, because Durant kept pushing the topic like he was trying to rewrite what truly matters in the sport.
Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it. Gets it up ahead.
Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Or some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
This rest stuff just drives me crazy. You're playing basketball for a living, okay? I understand if you're working in a coal mine, that you may need a rest day after it. You're playing basketball.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all time.
He started saying the real goal for today's players should be hitting 20 seasons, focusing on longevity more than chasing MVPs, championships, or pushing yourself to your absolute limit every single year. Then LeBron nodded along, agreeing like Durant was dropping some deep wisdom that everyone needed to hear. This is the moment where Jordan's whole philosophy blows their entire argument apart without him even needing to clap back directly. Jordan never cared about stretching his career just to say he lasted longer than everybody else. He cared about going all in every single season with one mission in his mind: chase perfection and push himself farther than anyone thought possible. His goals stayed the same from day one: maximize himself, maximize his team, and walk off that court knowing he gave everything he had. Win championships, stack MVPs, dominate both ends of the floor, and never cheat the game, not even for a second. And if that meant his career wouldn't last 20 years, he was cool with that. Jordan once said, "If I burn out, I burn out. That means my career is short and I'll go play golf somewhere." And he meant it with his whole chest. Now compare that mindset to what Durant just said about the real goal being to play 20 seasons. Not greatness, not legacy, not leaving your mark on history, just sticking around and collecting checks. That's a whole different energy, and fans felt that difference the moment he said it. Jordan played 15 NBA seasons total, and realistically only 13 full ones, but look at what he did in that short window. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive selections. That's not just impressive. That looks like someone chasing near perfection every time he laced up his sneakers. Now look at Durant and LeBron together, 2 all-time greats with massive careers and massive talent. Combined, they've played 39 seasons, almost 3 times the amount of time Jordan spent at his peak. And their combined numbers: 6 championships, 5 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 5 scoring titles, and 5 all-defensive nods. Almost 40 seasons. And the resume still doesn't match what Jordan built in basically a decade. Think about that for a second, because it says everything. Twice the time, half the results, and that gap shows exactly why people still talk about Jordan like his legacy is on a different level. Jordan wasn't speaking theory when he talked about giving everything. He lived it every season he stepped on the court. When he entered the league as a rookie in 1984, he didn't pace himself, didn't load manage, didn't pick and choose games. He played all 82 games, every single one, and showed up ready to hoop every night. That same season, only around 40 NBA players managed to play a full schedule, but Jordan still averaged. Jordan averaged 38.3 minutes per game as a rookie, ranking 4th in the entire league, and that alone tells you the kind of monster mindset he walked in with. His total minutes were 3rd overall, right behind Buck Williams and Larry Bird, and he did that straight out the gate like he had something to prove every single night. From day one, Michael Jordan was built like an Iron Man, and he carried himself like someone who refused to slow down for anybody. And he did all this in an era when the game was way more physical, the pace was tougher, and the daily grind hit harder than anything players deal with today. Teams flew commercial, the schedules were brutal, and most squads had just one trainer and one strength coach to keep everybody going. Practices were longer, back-to-back games were non-stop, and players didn't make excuses. They just showed up and handled business. During the 1999 to 2000 season, 58 players played all 82 games. 58. Let that number sit in your mind for a second, because it shows what the mentality used to look like. Now compare that to today. In 2022, the NBA hit a record low for full-season players. Then 2023 broke that record again. Then 2024 broke it again, and 2025 followed right behind, marking some of the lowest availability numbers the league has ever seen. All while players now have every resource imaginable. Private jets, huge medical teams, sports science departments, personalized nutrition plans, top-tier recovery tech, and training facilities that look like luxury resorts. And somehow, players are suiting up less than ever. The big question is simple: why? And Jordan already answered it without calling out LeBron or Durant by name. He talked about load management, about sitting out when you're not actually injured and choosing comfort over competition, something he never believed in for himself. He said, "I never wanted to miss a game because it was an opportunity to prove myself. The fans are there watching. I want to impress that guy way up in the top deck who probably worked his butt off just to afford a ticket." Jordan showed love for the game every time he stepped on the court, and that respect extended to the fans who filled those arenas night after night. He understood that getting to play in the NBA was a privilege, not some burden he had to carry. So when people see modern players making huge money and still sitting out games because they're tired, it rubs a lot of fans the wrong way, especially the ones who saved up just to see their favorite stars in person. LeBron has had an incredible career, but he's only played a full 82-game season once in over 20 years, and that stat always gets fans debating. Meanwhile, older legends like Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and even Allen Iverson managed to go the distance multiple times during their runs. So when folks hear the guy often labeled as the face of the NBA only completing a full season once, it becomes a big talking point around the league. And here's the part that really gets discussed. When a superstar like LeBron rests or load manages, the whole league pays attention. If the top player can take nights off, other players start thinking they can do the same too. Suddenly, role players are sitting out, bench guys are sitting out, and the whole mentality shifts toward the idea that regular season games barely matter unless it's playoff time. And lately, fans have even seen situations where some players sit out postseason games too, which makes the conversation even louder. Jordan's era had a different energy because the standard he set was different. When Michael Jordan was the face of the league, players showed up because they saw the example he set. They competed hard, they pushed through pain, and they treated every matchup like it meant something. Jordan himself once missed 64 games with a broken foot, and even then he didn't want to be shut down for the season. Management tried to protect him, but Jordan fought to come back and at least play limited minutes. And when the game was tight with under 30 seconds left, he demanded to be on the court because he couldn't stand the idea of sitting on the bench while the moment passed. The crowd erupted, and eventually the coaches let him back in the game. That's the kind of leadership people still talk about today. There's a story that captures Jordan's entire mentality in one moment. Artis Gilmore, a former Bulls player, once told rookie Michael Jordan, "If you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. basically warning him that playing so hard every night could shorten his career, and Jordan didn't slow down one bit after hearing that. Gilmore was basically telling Jordan to chill out. Stop diving for loose balls, stop going all out, stop throwing your body on the floor like every possession was life or death. He wanted Jordan to preserve himself, save energy, think long-term. And Jordan's response was pure shock. What? He's crazy! Because to him, that was basketball. The hustle, the effort, the fight every single night. Jordan and Larry Bird both played under 15 full seasons, and there's a reason for that. They emptied the tank every time they stepped on the court. No holding back, no pacing, just hard basketball all night long. They chased every loose ball. They locked up on defense. They did whatever it took to win right then and there. They didn't think about year 20 or how many seasons they could stretch out. They thought about tonight's game and this year's championship, and that's the mindset that built their legacy. Meanwhile, Durant and LeBron have been in the league for decades, and a lot of fans feel like the focus has shifted toward individual accolades, stats, milestones, leaderboards, and ranking debates that get pushed non-stop on social media. And here's the funny twist that Durant probably didn't consider. LeBron once joked about caring about stats, but the line he was trying to imitate actually came from Jordan, not himself. Jordan said if he cared about scoring records, he would have kept playing and chased Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But he didn't care about that. He cared about rings, about winning, about taking his team to the finish line every season. There's another layer to this whole conversation that people barely talk about in this new podcast era. Taking shots at legends has become a trend, almost like it's the new way to get attention. Nowadays, it's normal, even expected, to see former players or current stars tossing little jabs at Jordan or Kobe like it's no big deal. Jeff Teague, Tracy McGrady, Dwyane Wade, Gilbert Arenas, and now Durant and LeBron. Everybody's airing opinions that they'd never say back in the day. It's open season on the guys at the top of the mountain, and everybody seems to be looking up at them with something to say. And the fastest way to get buzz right now is to try tearing down the legends who already proved everything they needed to prove. But here's the real twist. Jordan doesn't need to clap back directly because his entire legacy speaks louder than any podcast comment ever could. His 6 rings speak for him. His undefeated finals record speaks for him. His iconic highlights speak for him. And most importantly, his mentality speaks for him with a volume nobody in today's league can match. That mentality helped shape the modern NBA and lifted the sport into a global powerhouse. Back in the day, stars like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Charles Barkley earned every bit of spotlight they got. When big brands came knocking with sponsorships and endorsements, it wasn't because someone hyped them up. It was because their game already proved they were worth investing in. Today's world is different. Players often get max deals, major shoe contracts, and massive hype before they've even played their first NBA minute. They're paid off potential instead of proven performance, and that creates a totally different energy among young players. When everything lands in your lap early, it's easy to lose that hunger that pushes you to keep leveling up. Jordan's rookie contract was tiny compared to what rookies earn now, so he had to grind for every dollar, every endorsement, every ounce of respect. That hunger, that sharp edge, that obsession with proving himself night after night. That's the piece a lot of fans feel is missing from certain modern stars. And that's exactly why Durant's comment about the goal being playing 20 years hit people in a strange way. Jordan never cared about just hanging around the league. His mission was domination, simple and direct. Be the best, outwork everyone, and leave behind a legacy that nobody could ever touch. And he did all that in just 13 full seasons, building a resume players still chase decades later. Durant and LeBron together have nearly 40 combined seasons, and even with all their success, the comparisons to Jordan still hang over everything they do. That's the shadow they're battling, the standard the whole league keeps coming back to year after year. Here's the kicker. NBC just brought Michael Jordan back into the NBA spotlight in a major way, reminding everyone why his presence still shifts the entire conversation. Even now, decades after retiring, Michael Jordan still holds a level of influence that hits different, and that's why the NBA keeps bringing him back into the spotlight. His voice still carries real weight, sometimes even more than active stars or league officials, And when Jordan speaks, people stop and pay attention. If he says players should compete, should respect the fans, should show up every night, that message actually lands because he lived it with everything he had. That right there is Jordan's real response to Durant and LeBron. Not a rant, not a podcast, not a social media post. His response is the fact that he remains relevant at the highest level, even after being away from the game for so long. His response is that his name still sits at the top of every basketball conversation, whether people want to admit it or not. When the NBA wants to shift the culture or remind players what the standard used to look like, they don't turn to the newest superstar. They turn to Michael Jordan because the respect he earned never faded. Durant and LeBron can laugh on their podcast all they want. They can downplay championships or the triangle offense. They can poke at the legacy. But the game still compares everything back to Jordan every single time. Every big debate always circles back to him. Every all-time list still places him in that top spot. And no matter how long anyone plays, longevity alone won't erase the impact he made in a shorter amount of time. Jordan didn't chase years. He chased greatness, and greatness doesn't need 2 decades to prove itself. It just needs those big moments that echo forever. Jordan had over a decade of those moments, while Durant and LeBron together are still chasing a record that refuses to fade. So yes, Michael Jordan responded, not with words, but with the legacy he already built. His mindset, his work ethic, his whole approach to the game is the loudest answer he could ever give. If you feel like today's NBA has drifted from what made the game special, hit that like button. If you think players should bring back that real respect for the game and the fans, drop a comment. And if you want more breakdowns revealing what's really happening behind the scenes in basketball, make sure you subscribe, because this conversation is far from over.